Okay, let's look at the last example in 2G. This case is also a rational inequality. So the solving is similar to example 3. The first step is we want to get rid of the denominator. And we need to solve this rational inequality both algebraically and by technology. Of course, right now we focus on the first method, algebraic method. So we want to get rid of the denominator. Like example 3, I have two cases. Case 1, if the bottom x minus 2 is positive, which means x should be values greater than 2. Then I multiply both sides by a positive number. I can keep this inequality sign. This time, on the right side, it's 2x minus 6 times x minus 2. We need to open the brackets here. So if you guys open the brackets here, you need to use the FOIL method. So it will be 2x squared minus 4x minus 6x. Let's combine the like terms. Anyway, it's negative 10x in total. Then plus 12. And let's still copy the left side. In this case, I don't want to follow the first step that we summarized in section 3. I don't want to move all the terms here to the left-hand side. Because if you move all the terms to the left-hand side, the leading coefficient becomes negative. So here, I use in the opposite way. I move all the terms from the left-hand side to the right side, and leave the left-hand side to be 0. So it's 0 is less than or equal to 2x squared minus 10x plus 12 minus 3x minus 1. Okay, let's combine the like terms. So it's 0 is less than or equal to 2x squared minus 13x plus 11. I know most of you guys don't like this expression. So you are more familiar with 2x squared minus 13x plus 11. I want to put all the stuff on the left hand side and leave right side to be 0. That means I want to switch both of these two sides. When I switch around these two sides, make sure, okay, you need to flip the sign as well, because this side is greater. If you look at the crocodile mouth, it's facing this side. So even if I swap these two sides, I still need to keep this side bigger than 0. Okay, so right now, based on this format, I can factorize this trinomial. You can use the AC method or cross method to factorize this one fully. So this one should be 2x minus 11 times x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Then you guys need to know the third step is I need to use the Venn diagram to show the positive and the negative intervals. So put on 2 zeros on the number line. One 0 is 1. The other 0 is 11 over 2. 11 over 2 is 5.5. Then you can pick up a 1 value from this interval to look at if this one is positive or negative. For example, I can pick up 0. 0 in for x, negative 11. 0 in for x here, negative 1. Negative times negative becomes positive. And they're linear factors. I will know the sign changes around each 0 point. So this is positive, this is negative, this is positive again. So right now, I'm looking for the x values which can make this expression larger than or equal to 0. So the x values should be less than or equal to 1. I take this positive interval. And the other positive interval is this one. So the other one is x is greater than or equal to 5.5. But need to remember, when you got this solution, you find the solution based on this condition. So it's the same as example 3. Then I need to find the overlapping part of this one and x is larger than 2. How can I find the overlapping part for all those? What I will do is, I will put down x is less than 1. Let's use the green color. X is greater than and equal to 5.5. Green color still, because that's one solution. Then x is larger than 2. I use the blue color. So 2 is here and greater than 2. Let's look for the overlapping part of the blue and the green. So blue and green, the overlapping part will be this one. So based on the condition in case 1, the final solution should be larger than or equal to 5.5. Okay, right now let's look at case 2. Case 2, which means the bottom is a negative value. In this case, the x values should be less than 2. When I multiply both sides by a negative value, remember, you need to flip the inequality sign. So smaller than or equal to becomes larger than or equal to. Then I'll have 2x minus 6 times x minus 2. Use the same way that we did in case 1 to open the brackets here. And then reorganize all the terms and move all the terms from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, just like what we did in case 1. Okay, I can put on more steps here. So it's 3x plus 1 is larger than or equal to 2x squared minus 10x plus 12. 0 larger than or equal to 2x squared minus 13x plus 11. Then I switch around these two sides. It's 2x squared minus 13x plus 11 less than or equal to 0. Factorize the trinomial. It will be 2x minus 11 x minus 1 less than or equal to 0. The same. Use the number line, but it seems I don't need to repeat the number line anymore. But in case 2, on the number line, I need to look for the x values which can make this one to be negative. So I need to choose the negative interval. So it's between 1 and 5.5. And make sure that you need to put down the equal sign for 1 and 5.5. Because both of these two 0 points can be included in the solution. And you also need to know, we got this one based on this condition. So let's use the number line to find the overlapping part this time. 1, 5.5. X has to be less than 2 as well. So x has to be less than 2. Then look at the overlapping part of the blue one and the red part. It should be this one. So the final solution in case 2 is x is between 1 inclusive, 2 not inclusive, because x cannot be 2 in the denominator. At the end, I combine these two solutions for the final solution. So the final solution can be x is greater than or equal to 5.5 and x can be larger than 1 or equal to 1, smaller than 2. Okay, that's how we can solve this one algebraically. Method 2, technology method. I will use the graphing calculator to help me to see how I can find the intervals. Of course, I will let the left side be function 1. The left side is a rational function. And then let the right side be function 2. And for this function, the graph should look like the hyperbola. And this one is a straight line. Okay, let's graph both of them. Let's turn on the graphing calculator and put these two functions in. When you put the first function in, make sure you can put in a pair of brackets on the top and a pair of brackets in the bottom. Then do dividing. The second one is 2x minus 6. And make sure your window setting, maybe, okay, that's the first step. You can put in the default setting. -10 to 10 for x values. -10 to 10 for y values. You can adjust the window settings later on. Now let's graph. So that's the graph I can get. What I will do right now is I wanna take a picture of this graph. Okay, it seems this one is not a very successful one, so I want to get a big one. Okay, so this one is winner, sir. So let's look at this one. So the next step is you need to use this function, second trace, to find the points of intersection between these two graphs. If you use this function, you will find, okay, this x value is 1, and this x value is 5.5. So right now, the inequality is y. 1 is less than or equal to y2, which means you are looking for the intervals where the hyperbola is below the straight line or equal to the straight line. Then you will see for this part, the line is above the hyperbola. Then you read the corresponding x values here from 1 to the vertical asymptote. And then you know this vertical asymptote for the left side function is x equals 2. In this case, on the graphing calculator, I can see the first interval very easily. It's between 1 inclusive and 2 not inclusive. And the second interval is, I can see this part, the line is still above the hyperbola. And then I look for the x values on the x-axis. So the x values should be larger than or equal to 5.5. And of course, if you compare both of these two methods, you will find technology method is way easier than algebraic method. Okay, hope that you guys can practice some questions in the homework. Please let me know if you have any questions.